Welcome to AHA Math and Science. In today's video, we'll be talking about the trend of crude oil price and also a well-known oil company, Exxon Mobil. So it looks like today the oil price dropped more than 3%. And clearly, the oil price has been really seeing some volatility, in the past, decade also, especially last 2-3 years. So it'll be very interesting to see what the oil price is doing, and what it will look like next. And so we're going to look at both the oil price and Exxon Mobil in this video. So first, here is a chart of Exxon Mobil since middle of 80s, and it's generally on uptrend, as you can see here. In fact, it has rewarded its investor very nicely, almost like a 100-fold increase from middle 80s to the present time. And especially in the past 2 years also, since the low during the pandemic, early 2020, it already had a 4-fold increase. So that's very nice. But also, this huge increase in price and over a short period of time makes some people nervous. So it will be really interesting to see what happens next. And then any oil company, the share price increase is also related to the crude oil price. So if the crude oil price is doing well, then generally the oil company is also going to be doing well. So here's a chart of WTI crude oil futures in the past 20 years also. You can see the volatility is even more, more volatility than the oil company like Exxon Mobil. So it has a huge run from about 2002 all the way up just before the great financial crisis, and then it spent most of the time in the past decade in a bear market from late 2008 to basically early 2020. So, and that's a lot of volatility here. And then in the past 2 years also, it has increased, and it's almost hit the $120 level. So now it's kind of hovering around, since it had dropped from middle of 2022. And then in the early 2023, in the past 2 months also, it's been around $80, hovering just around that level. So what happens next is another interesting question. And both the oil price and the oil companies, you can see that there's a volatility. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of pattern we can discover. So let's start with Exxon Mobil. So for any investment, when project on a larger scale, we can actually look at whether the compounding formula applies to the investment. And if the compounding formula applies, then we should expect the share price follows more or less a straight line. And when we did this to the share price of Exxon Mobil, we can see that a clear uptrend, and the data more or less falls onto this red line, which is a straight line, with R-squared value of 0.91. That's not bad, because when R-squared is 1, that means it's a perfect fit. The data, the straight line model will fit the data perfectly. So 0.91 is not bad. You can see more or less the data kind of like follows the straight line. And we also plotted here are the 2 dashed pink lines. These are 2 standard deviation above and below the trend line. And then the 2 dashed black lines are 1 standard deviation above and below the trend line. And note that from statistical analysis, there's a 95% probability for the price to fall within the 2 sigma band. And then it looks like that this is kind of manifested here, because there's only 2 occasions when the price kind of goes below the 2 sigma. So one is in the early 1985, it just dips below it. And then the other one is actually recent, during the pandemic in 2020. You can see here, actually, the price dips below even 3 standard deviation. So it's a huge sort of a bottom. And so people who actually kind of start to kind of take position during this time,
they already had like 3-4 times for the increase. So just again says this analysis is really kind of interesting and has a lot of value for long-term investment. So what happens next? This is what we care about. So we probably can actually take some clues from what happened last time when the price dipped. You can see it had a huge run, just like what we saw recently, and then it almost approached the trend line, but it don't break it. And then before break it, actually, it just kind of dips below the negative 1 standard deviation, this dash black line here, and then a dip below quite a bit. So if history is any guide, we should expect the price also, perhaps maybe it could still go up a little bit, but it's very likely that at some point it's going to dip below, retest the 1 standard deviation trend line. Note here, it also hover around the 1 standard deviation trend line for a little bit, but this is more like a consolidation because the price goes up again. So this cannot be considered as like retest of the 1 sigma trend line. This is more like consolidation. So we expect that at some point, the price will dip below the 1 standard deviation trend line. So this is what actually based on the last time when the price had a huge run from below the 2 standard deviation to the trend line, it dipped. It has retested the 1 standard deviation trend line. So we expect something like this will happen, and we suspect that the Exxon Mobil at least will retest the 80 to 90 levels and could even be below that. So this is what we expect. After that, and just like last time, it's going to just had a huge run for like more than a decade long. So we suspect something like this could also happen once this retest is finished. So now let's see that if the oil price will do something, because again, the share price of an oil company is closely related to the oil price. The share price will not do that if the oil price just breaks down and it never recovers. So let's take a look at the oil price. So here is a more than 50 years history of the WTI crude oil price per barrel right on this chart. And these are not inflation adjusted, just the raw price. And you can see that there's several bull markets. One is like initiated in 1973 during starting from the oil crisis, and then kind of ends in the early 80s. That's a huge run. And the next one, there's several small ones. This next one is happens at here in the early 90s, and then there's another one. Which is kind of like started here, 2002, and then all the way to before the great financial crisis in 2008. And then every bull market is always followed by a bear market. You can see following this first bull market, you have a bear market because this is a downward trend. And then another bear market follows the early 90s. And then the recent bear market is just follow the 2008 huge run. And then for almost more than 1 decade, it's just in a bear market. And this is the downward trend. But then once the price breaks through the downtrend, you see here it breaks through the downtrend, and then you always retest the trend line here. So break and retest. So this is a retest. And then this downtrend was broken here. And then what happens? Shortly after, there's a retest of the trend line. So here now, it breaks through the downward trend. So this is just in the past 2 years. And now it seems that the price is coming down. We suspect the coming down will not end. In fact, it probably will end by retesting the trend or get very close to it. So this is something we expect. So if that does happen, you can see the crude price could retest the $40 to $50 level. And this is based on history that you have already 2 instances like this. This is the third one. And we think this is very likely will happen. And after that, if history is any guide, it will start rebound and take out the previous high and go to a new bull market. And this could be a long-term thing that can last for like a decade or something. So it looks like the share price of Exxon Mobil, which we did a regression analysis, looking at the trend line. Here we're looking at basically on the log a linear scale, just look at the bear market, being broken, and you can see that there's our retest, and we get to the same conclusion that we expect a short-term retest, and then start a new bull market. So I hope you have enjoyed this video and found the analysis interesting. Please do not forget to click the like button or subscribe to our channel. Your support really means a lot, so that I have the motivation to produce more videos like this one. And thank you for watching.